So Wrestlemania weekend has come to a close. Mania or Raw after Mania has come to a close. The Hall of Fame has passed, and so much more. We got a jam-packed show for you this evening. Star Wars obviously will become the focus here. But one of the new segments we're introducing over on the Legacy of Star Wars, and it's kind of an old segment because we've taken it from our old Star Wars Wasteland show, is the Outer Rim, where we decide that we will take some time and talk about a topic that is not in the galaxy far, far away, but rather in our galaxy somewhere. So instead of that being at the tail end of today's show, though, we're going to do it right now off the top. Joining me for this is he's the co-host of the Legacy of Star Wars. He's Randy. What's going on, man?
Not a whole lot. I've got that WrestleMania hangover because a bunch of my friends and I, when we went, we're all kind of like, man, today sucks. Why? Because we're not at WrestleMania like we were over the weekend. So it's like that surreal moment of everything kind of settling in and the realization we're back in the real world and not in that just just massive amount of people who share that same interest as you and give off that same energy as you. And yeah, it's a bit of a downer, but that's just kind of how big events happen to be.
And also joining us is Matt. Thanks for doing this, man. Excited to talk WrestleMania Fallout. And I know you and I have some thoughts on something that's supposed to go down tomorrow on AEW television. So,
yeah, kind of, maybe a little bit. Yeah, we got some opinions.
Opinions.
Do you have an opinion? Never.
I got opinion.
So Randy, you had the luxury of being there present this weekend, and I believe you hit up SmackDown, the Hall of Fame, WrestleMania nights 1 and 2. I don't believe you did Raw after Mania, correct?
No, I was watching Raw from home.
Gotcha. Understood. So tell us about your experience. What were the pros? What were the cons? What were the highlights that the memories you've made for the rest of your life?
I mean, you could call this a pro and a con, just the amount of people, because if you're not good in a large crowd of people, then it might not be for you. But yet the energy that people bring and just the fact that you're in a crowded room or stadium in this case, full of people who share that same passion as you, it really does help really make the experience a lot better. Obviously, my biggest con, though, was the fact that it was 42 degrees with the wind blowing insanely during the main event for night one. I actually got cold, which is very rare. Night two was a lot better. The wind was not a big factor. But also Triple H commented on how night one, the weather just didn't want to cooperate as well as they had hoped. But obviously some of the highlights for me, it's just, being there for Cody finishing his story, the amount of energy the stadium gave off as we got closer to that finish was absolutely insane. I'm amazed I didn't blow my voice out when that first gong hit. And if you go back and watch the replay, because I'm sure you guys heard it watching it on TV, just the level of the pop constantly with every person coming in, from Cena to The Rock to Taker, it just kept getting louder and louder and louder, and it's just one of those surreal experiences where, we were all expecting to hear glass shatter, but gong was just as good. I was happy to see Drew win the title, even though, he got cashed in on less than 6 minutes later. And then, of course, and then you got to figure watching Bayley beat Io, that was a great match. Obviously, the women's match on night one was definitely the match of the night for me. I will say my biggest disappointment was Jimmy and Jay. I figured that was going to go longer. I figured it was going to be a lot more hard hitting. And yet I feel like they were more just trying to tell a story rather than get as physical as they could be.
It was a super kick party. That's what it felt like.
But overall, it was a great experience. If you get the opportunity, you should do it. Obviously, this is a milestone one, so that was it's a little different than going to a year, one from say next year or the previous year. It's going to be obviously different, but overall, I mean, the city was amazing. They had the WWE World at the convention center there. We went to the Superstore and bought a few things there. It's just they were that Philadelphia was ready for that full experience of all the fans being there, and it was actually everybody was really super nice. It was just an all around fun time.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. Obviously, it's a big investment in time and money, and the last thing you want to do is leave something like that disappointed. It's also 40th anniversary, right? So, like,
Yep.
the 10-year things only happened 4 times, and you were at one of those 4, so that's exciting. Thunder wasn't exciting, but by the way, I might vanish at some point here, and I won't be able to stop this right away. So, feel free to carry on with whatever discussion you guys see fit, and I'll do my best to get on when I can. That being said, I'm thrilled for you, man. Like, for some people, it's a once in a lifetime experience. Obviously, if you get to experience more than that, then even better. But I'm just so happy that you got to do it. It was your birthday too. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
So yeah, man, I'm thrilled. Were there any, like, did you personally have any cons? Like, how was it getting out of the parking lot after the show? I imagine
Well, that's always going to be a nightmare. I was telling Matt, SmackDown Hall of Fame. It took us. We didn't get back to the hotel room till closer. It was like 2:30. But you got to figure the Hall of Fame was dragged on thanks to Paul Heyman and his like hour-long acceptance speech, which was absolutely amazing, by the way. I'm glad that I got to be there for that, just because the pure energy from the crowd. The crowd was so into it, and I was a little bummed to see like half the arena empty out after he was done, because there was like, we got all these other people to go. Why did you spend this money on these tickets just to leave after Heyman accepts, induction into the Hall of Fame? The other 2 nights, though, wasn't as bad. We kind of just knew it was going to take a little time, so we just kind of sat and chilled, watched the press scrum afterwards, just to kill time as we waited till the cars kind of filed out. So we learned from SmackDown of what we just needed to do, just kind of sit and wait and just pick our time to leave. And we got back a lot sooner because of it.
sitting and waiting is always a good idea while leaving just an abyss of people in a parking lot, not just in terms of not having to stop and go every 20 seconds, 2 inches. But also, like, number one place for accidents, people, parking lots. So, yeah, no, smart move by waiting. How was the food? I know that's such a random question, but like, you go somewhere, you're somewhere for 4 or 5 days or whatever it was. How was the food at the venue? How was the food away from the venue?
So it's funny because SmackDown, we ate there at the venue. The hot dogs weren't too bad. I mean, it was expensive. Everything is expensive. That's to be expected. I was not about to pay $25 for a beer when I can get a 4-pack of beer at home for the same amount and something I actually like. So I was like, okay, no go on that. But after that, like around Philly itself, we stopped at a couple of different places that were really good. There's this marketplace near the convention center that basically takes up an entire square block, where whatever you want, you can find it in there. And the food is phenomenal. A little bit crowded, but given you're next to the convention center for a WWE convention, essentially, that's going to happen. And ultimately, the food just was, top notch for everything I've had there. So, I spent more money on food than I did anything else. And I bought a few things, but I actually bought one shirt that has, it was for the tag match from night 1, and it had the date on it and WrestleMania 40. I was like, it's got my birthday date on it. I need to get this. It's, it's really cool. But ultimately, yeah, just when you're going to an event like that, especially for being there for 3+ days, always prepare for just spending a lot on food. but it was at least it's good. You know, it's good food. It's not like, you know, hey, we're going to Crapplebee's. No, that you don't do that when you're going to something like that.
You didn't get a cheesesteak?
I thought about it, but the one place that the guys wanted to go to was basically standing. You go outside, you stand outside, you order it, and the line for the place was ridiculous. I'm like, you know what? We walked quite a bit the day before. And I'm like, no, you guys go. I'll go next time when there's not 70,000+ people all in the same area.
Mm. I was wondering if you got a cheesesteak when you were up there. We almost
Not this time.
Yeah, when Big Slow and I were coming back from Metallica, we almost stopped in Philly for a cheesesteak. But we were just so like exhausted. We were just like, yeah, next time. And it was lunchtime too, so you can imagine the line to probably try to get one. So,
oh, I have no doubt.
Yeah, he was talking about Geno's.
So the biggest thing for me in terms of the enjoyable experience on WrestleMania weekend was I got to see it all with my oldest son, which is the first time that's happened. And he enjoyed it. He definitely enjoyed it more than I did. So like that made me happy. You know, that's the way it should be. Night one, I think the only two things I really want to talk about in terms of night one stuff would be the Usos match was horribly deflating and disappointing. And I like when you're looking at the card before you see any of the matches happen for both nights, I had that like way, way, way up towards, okay, this should be a barn burner. This should be Bret Hart and Owen Hart, but more athletic. And let me tell you, didn't hold a candlestick to Bret Hart and Owen Hart from WrestleMania 10. Not even close.
We thought it was going to be match of the night. We really did. And we were just as disappointed with it just because, yeah, it should have been more, and it wasn't. And that's a shame.
Yeah, I'm completely agree with both y'all on that. That was the biggest disappointment of the night, in my opinion, also, because I mean, I really don't think they set it up as good as they could have. I mean, the promo for it with the introduction into the twins and everything, that was kind of cool. I found that more interesting than the match itself.
Yeah,
because all the match felt like to me it was a super kick party. That's all it was. It seemed
it got kind of, I don't know. It just didn't do much, and the chemistry, frankly, didn't seem very good in the match either. And you would have thought that if a couple of people were going to have chemistry, it'd be those guys in terms of what they do and how they do it. I don't know if you guys picked that up, but that was loud. Yeah, so that'd be the first one I'd point out, and then the second one is the main event. I thought the main event lived up to the hype. Grand entrances, slow build. Actually, early on, it kind of reminded me a little bit of the WrestleMania 1 main event with Hogan and Mr. T against Piper and Orndorff. I really liked it. You know, I enjoyed it. You weren't getting a bunch of high flying shit, which is always good when done right. But
it was solid.
I guess I would have liked it to get a little more crazy in terms of like outside interference. Like I know it was kind of bloodline rules ish, but I don't know. It could have been better in terms of the execution, but all in all, like you hyped the match the way that they did, and I thought it delivered. You know, at the end of the day, the crowd seemed into it, considering they were cold. Although Matt told me what the temperatures are in our temperature, and I got to tell you, I think most Canadians would have sat there perfectly fine in that weather. And Randy, you're New York area, right? So I imagine you weren't too bad.
I was good. I was good until my feet got cold, and that didn't happen until like the very end because I'd been sitting there and pretty much absorbing all that and being fine. But
with shorts on,
with shorts on and a t-shirt. I didn't even have a jacket on. So I was like, I'm good. And then my feet got cold and I was like, I'm not good anymore.
Yeah,
But that wasn't until the main event.
when the
So.
feet get cold, it sucks.
Mhm.
But yeah, no,
I mean,
I liked it. And I was listening to you guys in your pre-show talk here earlier when I was setting up. And you were mentioning they're releasing their like Road to Mania thing, the behind the scenes, the pivot, everything leading up to Mania. You know, they can say it was the fans that made them pivot, which to an extent was, but really, I mean, if you follow guys like Fightful, then you have an idea where they were already going and some other reputable places online. And I think the original plan was Roman and Cody, and then The Rock became available, obviously, and then they were going to shift to Roman and Rock. But also the original plan, and both guys have confirmed it, was Punk versus Seth. So I don't know how much of a guarantee it is we would have got that exact same tag team match. You know, Punk. It was kind of like a happy accident that it all happened. Now, maybe not for Punk fans, but even he, I thought, got his moment. And that's night two. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was great. I thought it was a lot of fun. No complaints.
For me, the best match of the night was Sammy versus Gunther.
That one was surprising because I didn't think there was a chance Gunther would drop Sammy.
Neither did
Sammy
I.
be the first guy, but then someone told me that it was like the 666th day of his reign. So that's
666. Yeah. I think
well,
I did.
And on top of that, the way they were building up Sammy, you got to figure you're in Philadelphia, and what better way to have Sammy win that title than to give him that Rocky kind of inspiration for his training vignettes and just that never say die attitude, the underdog that rises to the top. I will say that that brainbuster onto the turnbuckle, we all were just like, holy shit, because we all just lost our mind because it was just such a sick looking spot.
It looked like he got hurt.
Yeah.
When you look at the replay, it looks like he hit his shoulder, but it's just like the idea it was done so fast. It was just like, damn, we couldn't believe it.
So on something like that, are you watching the screen or are you watching the
a little bit of both? Like we'll sit there and we'll watch and then kind of look at the screen because of where we were, because we were near the top. You know, we're looking at the screen out here and going, okay, cool, kind of looking down, see where they are positioned in the ring. And when you see something crazy like that from afar, you immediately look to the screen because you want to see what the replay looks like. And I can't imagine what it looked like on TV because I actually rewatched the main event from night 2 last night.
Yeah.
I rewatched the main event last night, and I was like, oh wow, there's so many different camera angles that they didn't show on the screen that they showed on TV.
Oh, so, the production quality of everything they were doing, the Rocky like intros there once they're in the ring. What's the female announcer's name?
Samantha Urban.
Samantha Urban.
So when she's doing her thing, I don't know if it's a drone shot or someone's coming in from the outside and doing it, but like there's just so much production. Again, I didn't see what WWE was doing for production, so I know like
they had at least 3 or 4 different cameramen down near the ring, and they did have guys get in the ring during the intros and whatnot. For some of the shots coming back from like their commercial or their breaks or whatever what they showed, they did have a drone flying around doing those drone shots as well.
Now I know a lot of I noticed because you told me where you were sitting there, and they use that drone on an angle pretty much coming from like where
right
you
above
were
us.
Down down in, and I was like, where's Randy's big head? I wonder if I can see Randy's big head. Slow motion.
Yeah, you know, their production quality is just through the roof. It's very cinematic what they're doing now. And I was about to say, like, Jer's been on this channel before, and he said a bunch about the Kevin Dunn, the camera jerk stuff. And thankfully, you know, I didn't start watching again until that was coming to an end, basically. So I I didn't really get to experience much of it, but I've gone back and watched some matches, and holy shit.
Yeah, it was bounce, 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 bounce. You're like, can you just put the camera for at least 30 seconds in one spot, please? And now that's not an issue.
We moved to night 2, and we get the Seth Drew match, and I'm assuming Seth is still hurt. He certainly seemed like it both nights. But that match is just fucking. If you had any issues with night 1, it was okay. So the bell is gonna ring, and it's gonna be non-stop until the bell rings again. And it was very entertaining. I thought both guys did a fantastic job. I thought they did a good job of hyping up both guys. I thought Punk played it well on commentary because he should be bitter and spiteful towards both guys, but also gave both guys their due. And Drew won, and that's who I wanted to win. You know, I wanted Drew to go over. Now I looked to Jade, who's sitting about 15 feet from me right now, and said, huh. I'm like, Drew's not going to the back yet. He's sitting over there and he's celebrating, and I'm assuming it's his actual wife and not a stand-in that he was with. And I basically called what was going to happen. He goes over and he gets in Punk's face, and it's the thing that I like that they did with that is they didn't get close enough so you could hear exactly what they were saying word for word, which made you go, okay, what are they saying? You know, are they getting into it here, like for real?
It's smart.
The crotch chop, and Pat McAfee actually did a really good job of selling it all in commentary. And then it happened, and the crowd sounded like they went fucking nuts when it happened.
They did.
And I haven't been someone who's followed Damian Priest at all because I hadn't watched WWE in so long. I've seen nothing wrong with the guy since I've been watching him. I see he has a lot of detractors. I guess he used to be a ROH guy as well. The people that are in his corner like really, really wanted this for him, and I've had nothing but good things to say about him since I've started watching. Probably back in, I guess it would have been November. But you know, kudos to everybody that was involved. Like everything about that match, although it wasn't long, was like a perfect start to night 2 and getting the momentum going.
Yeah.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. The crowd just was so into that. You also got to figure when CM Punk came out, crowd erupted. When CM Punk started beating the shit out of Drew, the crowd erupted. Because, you know, CM Punk chants were there. I was one of those guys doing the CM Punk chant. And then when Damian came out, everybody, all my friends and I, we erupted because we knew it was coming. We had a feeling it was going to happen just because Drew was out there for so long. And then we got the "You Deserve It" chants going for Damian after he cashed in. It's about time that he finally gets something substantial past tag titles and things like that, because he did really well in NXT for himself.
He needs to branch off.
Yeah. Well, I think we're pushing towards that story-wise. I think it's only a matter of time before Finn just kind of gets overjealous, and it's going to be to the point where they're going to fight it out for probably a loser leaves Judgment Day or something like that, or at least for the title.
I believe Finn's contract is up too. I believe Sean Ross Sapp said that, and very, very soon. Like we're talking maybe a month or two left.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that has gotten sorted out since I heard that, because I heard that a couple months ago. But
well,
yeah,
obviously, we saw last year Finn and Damian being at odds with each other over the Money in the Bank briefcase. So I think we're just going to see more of that, and it's a good built-in story. It's just like Punk and Drew, their feud continues. Now that Punk seems to be healthier, he can participate more and not, kind of give Drew some support in terms of just keeping the feud going. Because for the longest time, Drew it was a one-man show building this feud. So it's going to be great to finally have Punk back in the ring, talking on the mic, really getting things going.
It sounds like he's a lot closer than anybody thought which makes me wonder if it was the exact same injury or if it was just initially feared as being such, and the one that happened over in AEW was more severe sort of thing. I don't know, but it's everybody who's talked about it seems to talk as if like, and this is just within the last week, a lot of it's been Punk himself, but seems to think, half the amount of time. So that would put the June roughly, late May, June. So we'll see what happens there. I didn't get to touch on this on night one, but Becky and Rhea, I thought had a really good match, and I thought they made the right choice by not ending Rhea's reign. I thought the right person went over. I thought it made her look stronger, and I really enjoyed that match too.
Yeah, we all felt that was the match of the night for night one. Also, I felt that was the right call as well, because what it does is it gives Rhea wins over at least 2 of the 4 women who started the revolution. Because you got to figure, Becky and Charlotte were 2 of the biggest proponents of the women's division for the longest time. Obviously, she's not going to get Sasha anytime soon, or I don't know if she's even faced Bayley before. But it's just the idea that this win just gives her that other notch. Like, I beat the queen, I beat the man. So it really helps strengthen her position as a champion. I don't know what's going to happen with this Liv feud. It's I do feel like Liv kind of messed up last night with that chair throw. I don't think she meant to hit her, but but yeah, we'll see wherever that feud goes. I know it's like we were asking ourselves this question. I'll put this on you guys too. Who do you build up for Rhea? Who's the next big match?
I think it depends how far down the road. Like, I would think that if you're talking a year from now,
Jade.
Yeah, Rhea and Jade would be, just a fucking cinematic battle. Obviously,
that's gonna be next WrestleMania.
Improving.
Draft is coming up in a few weeks.
But if you could do something like that, for sure. And then I don't have enough of a grasp on the division, right, to be able to know. But Charlotte will be back eventually too, and people might not want to go back to that train. But hey, your stars are your stars, and you're going to lean on them more often than you don't in any form of sport or entertainment. So yeah, I really enjoyed that match on night one. The night 2 match, people can say whatever the hell they want to say about Logan Paul. I don't find the guy annoying because I've never watched any of his stuff. Never had seen a single Logan Paul YouTube video ever in my life prior to watching him in WWE. I'm sure he probably popped up on an ad somewhere or something that I seen, but never went out of my way to watch his or his brother's content, or ever watched it. So to me, the Pauls are like, oh, these are apparently these famous social media guys. But like, to me, it's like, not really famous to me. So all I see is like a cocky rich guy in the ring. But guess what? The cocky rich guy is entertaining as shit. And, one of the knocks I have on AEW, and I get it, it's sort of like the Japanese style in a way, but is you get the flippy dippy shit happening in the ring. And I think there's a time and a place for it. But like I said, I've seen, I was going to say Fandango. That's not the guy's name, though. That's old WWE guy. Anyways, you get the guys that go over to the corner and they're doing they're like crossing their legs and jumping up on all the ropes, and they screw up. And instead of, fixing on the spot to make it look real, the guy stands there and continues to let him do it. And it's like, it's not just like a seldom thing. It happens a lot, and it just pulls the believability out of it for me. And I totally believe Logan Paul, and not just, obviously I'm a Punk guy, so people are going to say it's just because I hate Hangman. I don't hate Hangman. I think Hangman is one of the best wrestlers AEW has, period, in terms of in-ring stuff. I think he's pretty terrible on the fucking mic. I don't think he has much there. But in-ring, Hangman's great. But Logan Paul's, what is it, the buckshot lariat? the way he lands on his feet after he does that flip, it's almost like he's landing on his toes, like directly on his toes. Or when Hangman does it, the feet are like flat. It just gives a different look to it. And anything Logan Paul does is, at least in a WWE ring, has been very, very entertaining. I'm curious to see what they do next with him. And I said this to Matt earlier, you know, when you're painting ahead to the picture of the future, whether it's, you know, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Mania the following year, in terms of guys Punk could work with if the body ever holds out again, those two would be great in promos, and there'd be a great dynamic there, and Paul could carry the match physically. And there's just, I have no complaints about Logan Paul. That's just me.
For as much as I dislike the dude, not like as a person, because I've seen some of the stuff that they've done. I've seen like the headlines of some of the stuff he has done, and it's just like, yeah, you're just you're an arrogant prick. You're doing whatever the hell you feel you can do whatever you want. That's fine. But in terms of his skill and his passion for wrestling, I have nothing but respect for that. I don't have to like the guy to be able to respect what he can do in the ring. Do I like the fact that he's one of those people that defends the title only during like big pay-per-views? You know, that's annoying. That's what I saw with Roman Reigns at the end. There's him showing up every few days, every few pay-per-views to defend the title. I don't like that stuff. I like a fighting champion, and that's not what this dude portrays. And he's a heel. That's what he's going to do. But the match overall, I mean, to have that type of match with veterans like Orton and KO, it was a good match. It was a damn good match. Hell, you think about it. You could tell how much fun Orton is having in the ring. Like, he's having the time of his life right now after coming back from injury. And it was just good to see the chemistry all three had. And I kind of was looking for a different outcome to the match. I was kind of hoping for KO, but it is what it is. And yeah, I mean, I can't take away from just how good of a quality match it was.
Anything else anyone wants to touch on before we touch on the main event? All right,
Matt's
so
like, fuck Logan Paul.
main events. We get Roman versus Cody, the rematch. I thought the match was very well done. I don't think the match was as good as it could have been. And for me, that's a story thing. I think the story, the way they put it, should have been more of a, you know, Cody against everybody thing. And I know they sort of eventually kind of got to that, but being you literally had a match the night before to determine the rules of the following night, you figured you really would have went overboard and stacked the deck. You already made it crazy at the end anyways. That was my only complaint there. But it was a good match. It was great. Part of me at one point was like, I kind of want Roman to win just to hear the crowd's reaction. But it was entertaining. It was, I think I said it was either this Geek Side last week. You, Johnny, and I were talking, Randy, and I said, or was it Johnny, or was it just me and you? I don't remember. But I had mentioned I have a feeling that it's going to be similar to Sting versus Triple H at Mania, and in my opinion, that's kind of exactly how it ended up. So, kudos to everybody involved. I really liked the character and the story they built for Roman. I do think your champ needs to work more often than he did. I do understand the health issues at play. I still think there's an ability to work more than he did. I just think you need your title on screen a little more frequently than that. Even if it's not being defended, but like to disappear for as long as he did at times was probably not great. But all in all, the match was great. It was emotional. Cody got his moment. And I like the ending because it kind of reminded me of when Brett beat Yokozuna at WrestleMania 10. Everybody came out. I know that they did that for someone else too, but I don't remember which Mania it was. but it was just a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the main event. It wasn't the best match ever, but storytelling wise, it was good stuff.
Yeah, in terms of the production value, what they put into it, Cody's entrance was great. I love the mask that was made for him by the same guy who made Bray Wyatt's masks. He made that for him. So that was a kind of nice little thing there. I thought it was great to see Brandy come out with him. Pretty much look at him and say, finish the story, which was a nice touch. Obviously, being up in the stands, we didn't really get to see it, but the energy of the crowd was there. People cheering left and right, just going absolutely nuts. Obviously, you still have a bunch of Roman Reigns supporters, so there was a bunch of people giving up, putting up the ones when he came out. And then just the match overall was it was a good back and forth. Like you said, there could have been more to it. I thought for sure they were going to kind of be out in force right away, but I was fine with how it ended up. Obviously, the Usos giving the one move we all thought they were going to do on night one this move was more entertaining than their entire match, the spear off the stage. So that was a lot of fun. Like I said earlier, the level of the pops, okay, here comes Jey Uso, and you got the pop, and then you get Cena, and then you get The Rock, and then you hear the gong. And I mean, when you guys were watching it on TV, I know you could tell the different levels of how everything just kept on getting ramped up with the crowd as everybody came out. And then ultimately, that 1, 2, 3, you get Samantha Irvin pretty much crying, trying to announce Cody as the winner, which adds to the emotion of the moment. And I do like the fact that the telecast kept in Cody calling out Bruce Pritchard and Triple H. I'm really curious to what Triple H was actually saying to Cody, because you could see Cody was all emotional about it. I will say it's about time WWE as a whole buries the hatchet with the Rhodes, because we know Vince had a thing out for Dusty. He didn't like him. We saw what he did to Dusty when he was in WWF. I think this is a good way to start fresh and start the way it should be. I like the idea of it being a new era, and I can't wait to see the next chapter and what Cody does.
That's it, right? Like, we're post Mania now. I heard you and Matt talking about the Rock Cody stuff, and I do think to an extent it was supposed to come off. Excuse me. A little awkward last night, but as someone who watches a lot of entertainment throughout the years, many forms of it, I don't think it was supposed to come across that awkward. I don't think they were hoping to get a "this is awkward" chant. And when Jade, who's not like a big wrestling fan or anything, looks at me and goes, "This is awkward. This isn't feel." And even Cody's face is caught on camera a few times, seeming like, I don't know if the Rock slipped up or whatever, but it happens. Momentum, right? Like,
can I hold that belt? Wait, what?
To me, it's not so much the holding the belt. It's the way he
his
worded
cadence.
it, right? Almost. I don't even want to say how he sounded, because I don't want to put that on anybody. But yeah, it was awkward. It was weird. But hey, they now got to carry the momentum. You don't want to go back to the old, okay, now we're going to do nothing with all that momentum for 3 months, 4 months until we get close to SummerSlam. You want to do something big moving on. Seth is probably off for a little bit, I would think.
Seth is to take time to heal up. I think they're saying a minimum of a month from what I'm seeing online.
Yeah, Roman's gone now for a bit. Rock is gone.
Gunther's taking time off, because I did read that once he dropped that, he's taking time off as well, because that would have been my next opponent for Cody, is Gunther.
I'm going to go ahead and assume that Punk probably sticks around TV, maybe not all the time, but I don't think he's going to disappear for a couple of months because you got all these guys leaving again, and you want to carry the momentum. You don't want to go back to doing the same old thing where it's like, okay, Mania, Raw after Mania, and so that's their biggest challenge. I think Damian Priest, Jey Uso could be a really fun match. I think Jey can sell for Damian big time, really put him over as like a
yeah, for
powerhouse.
sure.
In terms of Cody's first opponent, I don't even know who's all over on SmackDown. But like programs that I could see happen this year, like
at this point, you could do KO or Orton.
Yeah, I think both of those guys are likely. I think Logan Paul is a possibility for Cody Rhodes at one of the bigger events as well. So,
LA Knight's over enough that he could get a shot.
AJ Styles. So you
go.
got guys
that
over
I can
there.
see being the first one.
You got guys over
he's
there.
He's such a mega heel right now.
Anyways, we've got about 40 minutes, which is around our peak on this. So I'll bring it up. I'll go last on this bit, but as we know, tomorrow night on AEW Dynamite, they are going to show footage of what happened backstage at All In. We believe it's security cam footage, so I think a lot of people are assuming that the quality is going to be much better than what it's actually likely to be. But either way, they're supposed to show footage from the CM Punk Jack Perry incident. A lot of the speculation is this will build up to a Jack Perry return, and you also have the Bucks going up against FTR very soon, like week or two, right? So it plays, and that one's going to be that's for the tag titles, right? So it'll probably play into that.
That'll be a Dynasty.
Isn't that in 2 weeks or no? Is that further out?
The 21st. So yeah, roughly that. Yep.
So you have that. Jack Perry is doing a New Japan thing in Chicago, either this weekend or next or something. So location wise, in terms of getting heat, it might make some sense. Matt, I know how you feel about it. I feel like Randy's going to have a little more of a level-headed take on this. I think my take's actually perfectly reasonable, but people who know I'm a Punk fan are just going to not give it the credit it probably deserves. So, Randy, feel free to bat lead off on this one. Thoughts on them doing this?
As much as I know this is going to be more for ratings, right? That's what it has to be for. There's I feel like no real good's going to come of it, except for getting more people to tune in. And that's fine. If that's what they want to do, that's fine. I feel like at this point, the thing should have been just dead and buried by now. Neither side handled it properly. And that's on both of them, both sides. It should have been done a different way, and they didn't. It's in the past. Everybody's trying to move forward. Yes, Punk did not have to come out and say what he said, but it happened. AEW responded. You've got Copeland and Dax all pitching how great AEW is just because they just want to get keep the fans engaged for them, but also I don't know. I don't feel like any good's really going to come of this. I don't feel like it's worth doing. Yet I understand what they're trying to do is they're probably trying to put it out there, get extra heat on Perry when he shows up in Chicago. But also I think at some point we're going to see Perry join the Elite. I think because he's such good friends with the Bucks, I think that's something that's going to happen down the road. So yeah, it'll serve its purpose in terms of getting eyes on the product and basically trying to build as much heat for Perry as they can for when he comes to Chicago. I think that's really all this is for. I just don't feel it's necessary, but I don't run the show. I'm just a fan that really wishes it would go away.
Matt?
I do agree with Randy on the Jack Perry part. I think it's leading to that. But I also think that that interview that Punk had with Ariel, Punk could have said a lot more. I don't think he really wanted to talk about it, but I think he had to talk about it on some level. But like I said, he could have gone a lot worse, and he didn't. And what he really stated was facts. He wasn't lying about how I've said that he's a fanboy who plays with daddy's money, essentially, Tony Khan. And the thing about it, there's no true structure. Yeah, you got EVPs. I mean, what did they know about wrestling before we even heard of them? I mean, they were probably around, but to make them EVPs, I mean, I don't.
You're way off target at this point, and this is coming from the Punk man.
I'm coming back. I'm coming back, but I just feel like this is an act of desperate. It's desperate. They want to. Oh, we're not like that. He's wrong. He's gonna. Let's just show you what he did. And you know what? If he did it, I don't. Maybe there is some rational behind it. Maybe he was pushed to that point. We don't know because we don't know how much of the video they're going to show. And but I don't think it's going to be to the point where he's going to have to worry about WWE suspending him. I mean, firing him. They're not. He's too much of a cash cow. They might suspend him.
Yeah, but he's just as big of a cash cow in WWE as he was AEW. The merch showed that. The problem is WWE is a super train that could lose him and be just fine in that department. Look, I'm a Bret Hart guy. The next night after he got screwed, they brought out a what's the proper term here so I don't get in trouble? A midget on Monday Night Raw and paraded him out in Bret's music, and him and Michaels and Hunter had a blast with it. And this is not the same thing as that, but look, I want to sort of approach this from all angles, and then we're going to close it off and get to Star Wars for half an hour or so. This was a little bit of a much longer outer rim simply because of it being Mania weekend. I hate how tribalistic all parts of fandom have gotten now. It doesn't matter if you're talking wrestling. Obviously, there's certain parts where it's way worse than others, like you can dive into wrestling and yes, it's tribalistic, but as soon as you mention the name CM Punk or the Young Bucks, you get into the shit about them. And you almost can't help it because they keep getting into the shit themselves. Right. It doesn't help the community at all. I basically tune out wrestling pages now because you either got, and this is coming from someone pro CM Punk, someone who is treating Punk like he's the next Messiah or something and can do no wrong. And then you have people that act like they're best friends with the Young Bucks because they had 2 conversations with them at an indie wrestling event that had 70 people at it. And it's like, you don't know them as people at all. Doesn't matter how much they've shown you on their fucking YouTube show. You don't know them at the end of the day. You don't know Punk at the end of the day. You can think you know these people and what drives them, but you don't. You don't know what's going through their mind. You don't know how people handle certain situations. You just don't. And it sucks because, like, Randy, you and I deal enough with enough of this with Star Wars and how tribalistic it got, especially once you got to the sequel trilogy. And now it feels like wrestling, specifically anything relating to CM Punk or even WWE versus AEW stuff, like it's nauseating. And the worst ones are the people that pretend they haven't picked a side or pretend like they're trying to keep the peace but they're actually instigating shit more. It doesn't help anybody. It makes you not want, like Randy, you just said you want it to stop. I want it to stop too. But you have just people who will continue to carry it on. I think it's desperate. I think Matt is completely right when he says that. It's disgustingly desperate. There's no win from this, but I guarantee you certain, not all, but certain Elite fans or AEW fans or even Jack Perry fans will spin it as there's absolutely positive in this and it's not desperate and it's a calculated move and yada, yada, yada. It's not. It's desperate. It's shit. And let me lay out the case for you here real quick. You send Adam Copeland out there, aka Edge, to give this 10-minute spew of fuck negativity surrounding AEW and let's turn to positivity. Okay, you did that. You didn't need to do that. The only reason you did that was because Punk did an interview. That wasn't scheduled. That wasn't even in the show lead or the show notes leading in. Fightful didn't have it listed. Sean Ross Sapp spoke on it after. But whatever, you did your thing. And then a week later, you're going to air footage when nothing has changed since Copeland did his thing of the incident backstage. And it doesn't matter if you're going to use it to generate some heat for FTR versus the Young Bucks or generate some heat for Jack Perry coming back. It's fucking desperate. Your ratings have been tanking quicker than the Titanic the last 2 months. And this is with the additions of Ospreay and Monet. And I've been telling people, I've been on this channel telling people, who gives a shit about the ratings? Enjoy the product as long as they're willing to swallow the losses to put it on, right? But then you get everybody else making it about the ratings, so you almost have to address the ratings, and the facts are the ratings are shit. It's that simple. You know what wasn't a shit rating is their Collision rating this past weekend post Mania Night 1 super late at night. They still almost drew 500,000 people. That's really good. But like there's no win. Dude, if the rating pops, it popped because of CM Punk. If the rating didn't pop, then you failed to generate extra interest. Okay? The Bucks are bad guys over there who are creating a toxic workplace environment. I find their characters cringeworthy, but yeah, they're still bad guys. So if you're going to show this footage, which no doubt paints CM Punk in a bad light, then are you trying to present Jack Perry in a good light, but then are going to bring him into your heel group? Well, that makes no fucking sense either. So, like, there is no winning here. You know, my guess is it's going to be really close to what Punk said, but I'm going to guess we're going to see some punches were thrown and maybe didn't connect or did connect. But let me ask you this. If it was just a face lock, why is Punk's face a little mangled going into the all-out fight? Go watch his entrance right now on YouTube. You can see it around his eyes. And if you think I'm full of shit, go watch Samoa Joe's entrance and look at one of his arms. I forget which one it is. The one that's taped. There's blood on it from him breaking up whatever happened. So we're not just, if they're going to show whatever happened, it's not just a headlock. It's more than that. And I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. People fight, okay? People fight. And at the end of the day, there's a clear, distinct history of their boss, the guy who runs the place. It doesn't matter whose money it is. He's the one in charge of it. Not stepping up and doing shit to squash shit. It doesn't matter if it's pro wrestling. Friends, someone just came in, heard we were talking about this and left. Wonder who that was. It doesn't matter what walk of life it is. If you don't communicate, you're fucked. It's that simple. No matter what, you're fucked. I'm not saying Punk didn't do anything wrong. The dude got fired for a reason. I expect to see some wrongdoing here. But at the same time, I'm someone who, even though in 2024 this is frowned upon, sometimes people need to get punched in the face to wake up. And sometimes people ask for it. And I get it. That's not right to everybody, but I'm the type of person where you push me enough, you're going to get punched in the face. Now, whether it has any effect or not, you can decide that. But yeah, so I get it. In that respect, I'm a lot like CM Punk. In the straight edge sense, absolutely not. Especially if you've been watching my video this stream. So that's my thoughts. I just want it to end, and it's not going to end. And if it's going to hurt feelings more, I could totally see the next step being Steele's wife comes out and spills the beans on Brawl Out. And like, it's messy, and it's not going to hurt WWE no matter what. It just won't. Drew will gain some extra material from this, and if it's bad enough, yeah, I would not rule out Punk getting disciplined or even fired, depending on like PR. That's everything, right? So I'm not saying I bet on it, but I wouldn't rule it out either, given everything that's happened. But just end it. Nothing positive is going to come from this. You're not spinning this into the fucking Attitude Era AEW. You got shit to clean up. Clean it up yourselves, not with your fired, disgruntled employee.
I mean, I can't disagree with that, but I'm going to finish with this. After WrestleMania and what I've been seeing, we're about to enter a new golden age of wrestling here. We've got, WBD loves what AEW is doing. I'm sure at some point they'll get their new TV deal and things will be even better for them. But wrestling has never been better. And you can go out in any direction and throw a stone, and you're going to hit something you like. Support it. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter if it's TNA, GCW. Doesn't matter if it's New Japan, AEW, WWE. Support it. Love it. Love it, all of it. Don't just sit there and nitpick about little things here and there. If you support the product as a whole, it's going to get even better. Let's just, as fans, let's bury the hatchet on tribalism and just come out there and just support the product as a whole. Because I'm going to say this now. If it wasn't for the formation of AEW, we don't get Cody coming back to WWE to finish his story the way he did. Because he went out, he made something of himself. He got to be a bigger star than when he left WWE. And now look where he is. Like, there's these little nuances that everybody goes through, these stories, their journeys. Drew did the same thing. He went out and made something of himself, and look what he's turned into when he came back to WWE. Let's all just support wrestling. Doesn't have to be a specific product.
For sure, but I honestly get why either side of the argument would see this move by AEW and go, I'm out. That's it for me. This shit is stupid. And it definitely had, this has the potential to blow up in their fucking face. This is WCW 2000 type desperate. And it shouldn't be if there's no worry about contract renewals and TV rights renewals. And I don't want AEW to go to business. I want the option to watch different types of wrestling that's mainstream. But I also don't want to put up with the fucking tribalistic bullshit who I feel like I can't go on to a Facebook page or group or somewhere on X or Instagram or wherever and express the fact that I'm a CM Punk fan without being, attacked, essentially. It's nonsense. And guess what? For the people that are fans of the Bucks or Adam Page or Tony Khan, I feel the same for them, right? Like, no one wants to fucking deal with that shit. It's stupid. And that's my take. Anyways, though, that is going to do it for our wrestling discussions tonight. We covered a whole lot. Matt, thanks for coming out, man. And we hope to see you again soon. Randy and I are going to talk some Star Wars.
All right, gentlemen. You have a good night.
Congrats on staying awake through the whole thing.
Yes.
And there you have it. Randy has come and gone. It's not Randy. Sorry, Matt. Matt has come and gone. Randy is sticking with us, thankfully. All right, man. So a lot has gone down in the last little bit for Star Wars. There's a lot to talk about in a very short amount of time. We'll no doubt do a follow-up.
It's been a crazy couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts. I'm not going to pull any of the footage up on this episode. I'll save that for the next episode. It can go by frame by frame. But let's start here. Let's start with the Star Wars Outlaws story trailer review. I'm assuming by now you've seen it. What were your thoughts? I have my own thoughts, but go ahead.
I like that we have a concrete timeline now when all this goes down. Obviously, this is something in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Given that we saw the main character looking at Han's body frozen in carbonite in Jabba's palace. So I thought that was kind of a nice little touch. I like the fact that we saw Kira in the trailer I like the idea of what we're going to get. It seems like it's we're going to get that crime syndicate story that we thought we were going to get all those years ago. That got shelved, that clearly is not being shelved anymore. But looking at like the story elements and the little things, I loved the different locales we got to see. I love the fact that we're going to get to see some very familiar faces, and that the story that they painted a mysterious picture around the main character, that there's something there that we have yet to see. So that gets me even more excited because I want to see what this character goes through. I want to see the story that develops around her.
I think they were trying to direct you to the Empire in that, because the very next frame is the Imperial Star Destroyer coming into it. So I'm guessing it's Empire related. Hey, look, it looks interesting. It looks cool. Kira's in it. The Star Wars criminal underworld, if you've read any of the expanded universe legends or current canon, is a lot of fun. There's a lot of shady, scary, fun, interesting things that go on there. But if I'm being honest, man, this trailer didn't do anything more to get me hyped for the game. And I'm a little bit surprised by that. I think it's the scale. I think it's the scale of what we're getting in games. Even when you look at Jedi Survivor, yes, Vader's been very briefly involved, but I think with video games you can only go small scale and not galactic scale for so long. And I'm excited about the open worldness of it all. The gameplay stuff, usually it's the story stuff that gets me, right? So kind of flip this time. This time the story stuff's like, okay, Crimson Dawn, we see Solo. There's some stuff in the comics that could be interesting that are at play there. It looks good, but it's the gameplay that has me the most interested this time around, and it's almost never that for me.
Yeah, I mean, from what we've seen so far, it does seem like there's going to be a lot you can do. I like the idea. It looks like they hinted at the potential, and it could have been just story related, but the hinting at the potential of actually getting into dog fights with the ship you boost. So I think that'll be a nice little element if they do actually have added that in, because that'll sell me on some parts of the game. But yeah, you're right. It seems like they're kind of going, look at our technical achievement rather than, hey, check this story out. And we'll see. I mean, I liked what I saw from the story trailer. It's not like I'm going, oh my God, it's The Force Awakens. No, it's nothing like that type of hype. But it's Star Wars. I love Star Wars in general. I like the fact we're getting a new story, new characters, revisiting some old characters, and it has me hooked enough that I'm going, do I hit the pre-order button, since PlayStation Store told me it's ready to be pre-ordered now? So it's one of those things, I guess.
I'm excited to explore, not just in terms of location, but scale, given how they've gone about the game. So again,
you want to hit the walls, you want to hit the boundaries, you want to see how far you can go out.
For sure. I want to get on a Star Destroyer and see how detailed it is, how many rooms, how big is it inside, you know? I don't even know if that's going to be possible. I'm just throwing that out there.
I mean, if that was possible, I could be like going, I've been playing the game for 5 hours. I've only explored half the Star Destroyer.
I'm excited for stuff like that. Again, I wasn't disappointed with the story trailer. It just seems like a Star Wars story that's intriguing, you know? I'm also a sucker for lightsabers though, so that gets hard on me after time.
Right.
Sorry, I thought I heard my kids. But yeah, you know, it looks good, but I got to tell you, man, massive red flag. Let's put it up. Let's raise it. Let's put it up there.
Yep.
August 30th this year for a game that they were debating earlier would likely not release this year and probably have to go into next year. And now all of a sudden it's going to make the month of August. And given at the end of the day, no matter how you want to place blame or share blame or point whatever finger in whatever direction, Lucasfilm Games and Lucasfilm still signed off on the release of the Battlefront Classic Collection in the state it was in. Rushing a game like this has me extremely worried. It has me worried that they've just decided to go, zit, that's it. We're not putting any more money into this thing. This is as far as it's going. This is how we're going to release it. Let's tidy it up. That has me very worried because as much as people might say that I'm being cynical, there's been plenty to have in question as it relates to Star Wars video games lately.
Yeah, that's when I saw that, I was like, please tell me this is a joke, please. And then a few hours later, I get the notification it's out for pre-order, and I was like, it's not a joke. This is not good. Why? Even, you know what? Sure, 2024 is fine. Push it to Christmas if you have to, but don't sit there and give it to us in 4 months and say it's ready when you were like 2025 is probably when it releases. Unless you're pretty much working these guys to death to the point of like, your 16-hour shift is not over yet. You need to finish up. I don't know. I don't get it. It makes no sense to me to push it, but almighty dollar talks, unfortunately, and I think that's exactly what's going on.
It does. On the bright side, though, Saber Interactive came out. They're their own company again. They're not being held down by the other group, and said, "Hey, yeah, no, the Knights of the Old Republic remake is happening. It's in active development, and we're committed to delivering a high quality product, but wouldn't put a timeline on it. And that's the right thing to do because
Take your
given
time.
how long it stalled, we're talking a game that would be lucky, and I mean this, lucky to see a release date by Christmas 2025. I think that's even too early.
Give me 2026. Give me Christmas of 2026. Take your fucking time with this thing. Even if you're working from the ground up, or even if you're just taking basic concepts and you're like, you know what, this works, this works, this works. Now let's build upon there. That's fine. Just don't rush it. Give the fans what they deserve. Give the fans what they want, but what they also deserve. And what they deserve is love and care for the creation of a classic masterpiece. That's what we deserve.
They're not rebuilding it from the ground up. That did get confirmed. It's so the assets that have been worked on for the last few years are moving over. It's not like they've gone back to square one with this thing. So that has me hopeful in a way that it's not a square. If it was going to be a square one start again, I would have said, okay, just gun for 2028. That's your 25-year release date and start over. But since they're not starting over, it does make me think that we could see something not too long from now. But when I say that, I'm talking late 2025, early 2026.
Well, and that's why I said take stuff that works and bring it over and then build from there. That way it fits your vision and it fits what you're overall trying to do, rather than just, all right, let's rush this. Let's go. Yep, we're going to take everything you already built and built upon it. Let's just take what works for our vision and go from there. It's not a total rebuild. but at least, we're getting something. There's positivity there. There's the fact that there's no timetable. I'm fine with that. As long as I get a quality product, I don't care how long it takes. You want to go to the 25th anniversary? Go for it. I mean, that just means you took the time and care to polish it. Get your QA testers in there. Get all the bugs out instead of having your day one players going, is this supposed to be glitching over here? Can I stick my head outside the ship and be able to see space? Is that supposed to happen? Because that a lot of AAA titles that get rushed now, you're bound to find the glitch, or that for me it was Dying Light 2 falling through the world when I was like, it's solid ground, and then I had to reset and find out it didn't save any of my progress. That was so annoying, but that is what you deal with nowadays, unfortunately.
It is. I'm trying to remember if there was other Star Wars video game news. We're not going to do Game of the Week this week since we're running long. But I thought there was one more video game thing to touch on. I can't remember it off the top of my head. So let's move over to The Acolyte. It sounds more and more like the footage that we will see attached to the Phantom Menace re-release will in fact be footage. It'll be from an episode, not just like a trailer or anything like that.
That's what I kind of figured they were going to do, since they were saying it was like 13 minutes.
Yeah, so I would compare it to like, I don't know if people remember this, but they debuted like the opening scene to The Dark Knight. And I can't remember what that debuted with, but it's basically the whole bank robbery scene. Then they did the exact same thing with The Dark Knight Rises, and it's the whole Bane breaking out scene with the ship there, or the jet there, or whatever, plane. So I kind of think it's going to be a lot like that, which means if you're only paying to get your taste of Acolyte, it sounds like you're going to get your taste of Acolyte. But I'm excited for this, man. It's coming up soon. It's less than a month away now. Are you going?
Oh, absolutely. I did, if memory serves me correctly, I think I did read in Empire that Carrie-Anne Moss's character really is kind of based around Trinity as well, which is why you see a lot of her Matrix-like moves from the movies, that they based that character around that. So that's going to be interesting. I think that's I can't wait to see what type of action sets they got for us out there, because Jedi at the height of their power, the Sith at the height of their power, so to speak, in terms of their training, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it a lot. On the Rey movie front, Daisy Ridley spoke on the movie recently, said she's really excited to do it, sounds hyped about it. It also sounds like we might get an official announcement about that movie soon, taking the Christmas 2026 release date, which means it sounds like, despite Bob Iger saying the reason Solo failed was 2 Star Wars movies within 6 months, they're going to respond with 2 Star Wars movies within 6 months again. I don't think that's the reason for the Last Jedi backlash or Solo not doing well, but that's just me. With the James Mangold movie, I got to Google this first to make sure it wasn't a fever dream, but I thought they announced they had a writer, and I thought I posted in our group.
You did. I can't remember the name of the writer off the top of my head, though. But it was a pretty prominent dude too, who's going to be writing this movie with him.
Let's see. I have it right here.
You seemed pretty excited about it.
It's been a long few days. I had a lot of travel. I mean, I guess so did you. So
very true.
Why am I not seeing this here? It says the article's about this, then you click on it, and there's nowhere to be found in here. I won't lie, I was starting to, I don't know, the Dawn of the Jedi movie always felt like the one that was least likely to happen to me. but that's just me. Oh, I think we have it here.
Bo Willimon to co-write James Mangold's movie. That's what
And
it's saying here.
yeah, and he is from House of
Cards.
Yes, and I was a big House of Cards guy. The story of that show was fantastic.
I mean, excellent choice for a writer.
Yeah, for sure. You could definitely do worse. He also co-wrote the George Clooney, Ryan Gosling political thriller, The Idols of March. So yeah, he's got experience and seems like a solid guy. And I think it's important to not have Mangold bite off more than he can chew and wear too many hats at once. I still think that movie is far, far, far off, but that's just me. And then the other thing that came out was the Tales of the Empire. I'm assuming you had a shot or a chance to see the trailer.
Oh, I am excited about that. Just hearing, just like with the Grand Inquisitor being Jason Isaacs again, I was like, oh, there we go. That's the stuff. And obviously, we're getting the same voice acting for Thrawn and Morgan Elsbeth, which is always phenomenal. So, I mean, I feel like, I like the idea that they're going to kind of fill in some of the gaps with Barriss Offee. I think that's a really good touch.
I'm really excited. I said this to Tommy the other day. I said that I really would have liked a different animation style. I get that they want to stick to the Clone Wars style thing. Obviously, it's a little better than what we see with Clone Wars as Tales of the Jedi is, but still that model.
Yeah.
That aside, I'm excited. I love diving into the Imperials and what's going on with there. I still would have liked like Tales of the Sith or even Tales of the Jedi season 2.
You still may get your Tales of the Sith though too.
I'd like to see them do more with the series though. Like it's going to be 6 short episodes again, anywhere from 12 to 20 minutes long a piece. But this is the type of thing where if you're going to keep them to 10 or 20 minutes, pop out 15 of these suckers and explore some things back in time. I know they don't want to do too much because they want to leave things on the table for live action TV series and movies, but you got thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years to play with here.
Very true.
Let's use some of it. But I'm excited. It looks good.
Yeah, I agree. You're going to get Morgan Elsbeth's reasonings for joining up with Thrawn. You're going to get Barriss Offee and how she becomes clearly, one of the Inquisitors. This is going to be it's going to be interesting.
So if I have this right, the month of March brought us the Acolyte trailer. The month of April has brought us the story trailer for Outlaws. Mm-hmm. It has brought us the full trailer for Tales of the Empire. The month of May will bring us our Acolyte preview, along with the Phantom Menace re-release, as well as some other movies getting re-released too, but I think that's in select areas. The month of June brings us the Acolyte. Same with the month of July. The month of May is also actually going to bring us Tales of the Empire.
Yep.
I don't know if anything's slated for August yet, but
by then I think we'll have Bad Batch tightening, getting their series finale. I think within that time frame as well.
I think Bad Batch's season finale is May 1st, I think. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. In that time frame there, we should be getting that as well.
So it's a lot of Star Wars from March through basically July. Is pretty crammed with Star Wars. I think it's probably a good thing though, because after this, I think the next thing would be Skeleton Crew, and you're looking at close to Christmas for that. Even then, it's going to be iffy. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. But it's been fun. There's been a lot coming out.
It's exciting.
So much to dive into here, but I think we're going to call it an end for this episode. We're an hour and 20 minutes in. For those that didn't like wrestling, our apologies. Needed a night to do this on. Next week we'll come back and we'll actually take a look at some screenshots and screen grab. Actually, you know what? Actually, I haven't seen it yet, so I don't want to do that. So forget that. Just it was a lot of fun, man. Lots of good Star Wars stuff. I think next week we'll dive into the Tales of the Empire trailer a little bit more, in the Outlaws trailer, and see if we can find some Easter eggs and some hidden shit, and
Sounds good.
go from there. What else do you got going on, man?
Not a whole lot. Obviously now with NCAA finals done here in the US, it's really now it's just kind of like going to be kind of a lull for doing the sports brew. So you basically anything that I'll be doing is going to be with you guys.
Nice. Excellent. Well, we got lots coming. House of the Dragon season 2 comes in June, and we're going to be doing so much around that across a couple of channels. The Star Wars stuff's coming. There's just going to be a lot of like instant reaction stuff coming. And then movie wise, we got Joker later this year, Wolverine and Deadpool, Twister, and other things coming as well. So lots going on at the channel. Stay tuned for everything we got going. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications to all, and just sit back and enjoy the ride. For Randy and Matt earlier in the show, and for Tommy and Johnny who aren't here, I'm Sean, and may the Force be with you.
For if one is remembered by a friend, one is never truly gone.